Hey, what's up? It's Anthony here at LANDR, and in this video I'm going to show you 10 of the best lo-fi plugins. I'll be using them on a track that I've been working on, and you can find all the download links in the description below, so go download them. They all come with a free trial, and see which one works for you. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more plugin roundup videos like this one. Lo-fi is one of the most hottest trends in music production right now for good reason. The warm tones of retro gear will give your productions a nostalgic and emotional mood. To get these satisfying textures, you'll need a dedicated lo-fi plugin. Luckily, there are more out there than ever before. The first plugin I'll be reviewing is Goodhurtz Vulf. This is a compressor that's capable of producing a warm, compressed sound while adding some more lo-fi textures like pitch modulation and slight distortion. It's a really great plugin, and I'll be adding it to my piano in my production. Vulf is a collaboration with Jack Stratton of the band Vulfpeck, and it actually models the famous vinyl sim algorithm from the Boss SP303 sampler. So this is my track, and I'll just solo the piano for now. So the plugin is not on, and I'll just turn it on now. So you have the compression here, and you can hear it squashing on the sound, which is adding a bit of warmth. And now we have this wow fader that's adding that pitch modulation that contributes to that lo-fi sound. And we'll see this throughout the video. There's lots of variations on these pitch modulators, and it really models a tape machine speeding up and slowing down, which is really contributing to that lo-fi sound. And then we have the lo-fi fader here, which seems to add a bit of distance between the sound of the piano, as well as some warm distortion tones. And then we have our dry and wet knob down here. So I'll just put it in context with my track. Probably take that modulation down a tiny bit. So here is without the plugin. And with the plugin. It really adds that retro sound to the piano, which is great. XLN Audio's RC20 seems to be everywhere these days, and it's easy to understand why. This top lo-fi plugin has 6 modules that are capable of taking your sound back in time. I've added the plugin to my piano again, and we'll just be able to tell the difference between the Goodhurtz Vulf and the RC20, which is nice when you're comparing plugins. So this is with the plugin off, and then this is on. So we have a vinyl sound here, so you can turn it up for the vinyl noise. This is similar to the wow fader on the Vulf, and this is going to add more pitch modulation. And you can kind of see the pitch wobbling here, which is great that it has these visuals. You can adjust the rate of the pitch modulation. And then you can go to flutter if you want it to be more fluttery. I like the wow, I think, better, so I'll keep it there. You can add some warm distortion as well. And then you can bit crush as well. Add some space and add some tape emulation. So this plugin's really powerful with its 6 modules all being in one plugin. There's lots of great presets to come with it as well, so I'll just maybe choose the sad piano since it's on a piano track, and then I can work with it from there. The vinyl noise can get a bit overwhelming, so I'll just keep it there. I like that pitch modulation. I'll keep the bit crushing off for my piano. Add a bit more space and some more tape here. So here's without the plugin and with the plugin. Izotope Vinyl is the next plugin that I'll be reviewing, and it's great because it's completely free and it was one of the first lo-fi plugins around. It really models a classic LP and it has the parameters to adjust that LP based on time and warp. It's really, really cool. So I'll just start at the left here. We have the mechanical noise of the actual record player. I'll just turn it on. And you can adjust the wear of the needle, which is adding a bit more grittiness. And then you can add an electrical noise, which I find really cool to have stuff kind of sit underneath. You can add dust to the record, which is adding a bit more pops and scratches, and also scratches to the record. And then the warp depth is going to change the pitch modulation, which gives it that classic lo-fi sound. Here's the year knob where you can change the year the LP came from, which is really cool. It gives the characteristics of that LP during that decade. So back to 1930 all the way to 2000. You can even change the RPM of the record. I think my favorite part of this plugin is the spin down button, which emulates the record player shutting off, but still going through the speakers. So I'm just going to automate that spin down button to happen at the end of my song. So just pull up automation mode, and then I'll turn it on here. Oh yeah. The next plugin is the Waves Reel ADT. It wasn't built specifically for lo-fi, but it's great for those old school tape textures with that sweet compression and warble that can contribute to a lo-fi sound. ADT stands for automatic double tracking, so it emulates someone singing over their same part twice, so it gives it that kind of chorus effect, which can make something sound a bit thicker and more warm, which is great for a lo-fi sound. So this is without the reel, and then this is with the reel. So you can adjust the vary speed here and the ADT as well. I can put it to center. So you can really hear that chorus effect, and it can really add to the thickness. And let's just hear it in the mix. This is without the plugin and with the plugin. There's also a lot of great presets that come with it. So I'll just go through some of them. There's warm guitar phasing. Whoop. Here's without. You can really hear that chorus effect and also the warble that's kind of modulating the pitch slightly, really giving it that old school texture, which is great for lo-fi. The next plugin is the Klevgr DAW Cassette. This plugin's a really simple plugin that's great for bringing the magic of cassette tapes to your DAW. If you're feeling nostalgic for that rounded frequency response and character that cassette tapes can bring to your sound, then this plugin's for you. So this plugin's really simple to use. I'm gonna get away from the piano for a second. I just put it on a loop that I found, so I'll just play the loop for you so you can hear it without the plugin. And then I'll turn the plugin on. We're already getting that warm sound. These three knobs here can give you control of the tape quality, the head quality, and the motor quality, which is kind of going to degrade the sound, and I'll just adjust one of them at a time. So if I bring the tape quality down, it's really going to degrade the sound as if it's being played off of tape that's really no good. Then the head quality is the same kind of thing. It's a bit of a different degradation that's happening. And you can hear it there, it becomes more rounded. And then the motor quality will add more warble and pitch modulation to the sound. And then you can choose the types of tape that you want to use, which will add different characteristics depending on the tape. So you can hear the metal sounds a bit more brighter. The normal sounds a bit more rounded. Then you can add some tape noise as well. So I'll just play that in context with my track. The next plugin is the D16 Decimort, which is a highly advanced bit crusher. It specializes in degrading sounds by reducing the digital information and really making the sounds pop. A lot of the character of early hip-hop and electronic music came from the retro samplers that artists were using. These old school tools had limited storage and resolution, but imparted their own special sound, and the D16 Decimort tries to replicate that. So I chose to put the Decimort on my drums, and I'll just play my drum track by itself. And I'm just going to choose a preset. So you can choose like a vintage sampler, and I'll put yes. And then you can choose the degradation as well, which is really great for like a filter. I'll just put maybe subtle or mild, and then we'll go from there. I'll turn the plugin on. How about some strong ones now? Let's see what that sounds like in the mix. I really like how the Decimort's able to kind of degrade the sound, but the sound still keeps its power, which is great, especially for the drums. You can use this frequency knob to bit crush the sound even more. With controls for quantization depth, dithering, and resampling frequency, you can emulate almost any AD/DA converter out there. So here's without the plugin, and with the plugin. You can really hear that warm, distorted tone that this plugin brings to the drums. It really contributes to that nice lo-fi sound. It's really retro sounding. The next plugin is the Baby Audio Super VHS. It's a really simple plugin that has all the parameters for that great lo-fi retro sound. The Super VHS is designed to emulate a specific medium, and in this case it's a VCR tape. So I've added this back to my piano track, and I'll just turn the plugin on now. So we have heat for distortion, which is really giving it that warm, nice flavor on the piano. And then we have wash that gives it a bit of space and lets it sit really nicely and makes it sound a bit more retro. And then there's the drift, which adds some pitch modulation. You can add static, and you can change the shape of all three of these parameters to add more of a bit crushing sound. Then there's a magic triangle in the middle, which is awesome because it really brings all three of them together and kind of multiplies the effect. So here it is in context with my track. And without the plugin. And with the plugin. The next plugin is the AudioThing Vinyl Strip. This plugin is another multi-module lo-fi solution in a single plugin, so it has multiple modules that you can toggle on and off. Each stage lets you add another layer of processing to achieve that lo-fi texture. I put it on my drums and I found a really cool preset called 70s drums. So this is the drums without the plugin. So you can hear that vinyl sound come in, which gives it that retro feel. There's the compression that I can turn on that's going to give the sound more of a fullness to it. And then there's some distortion where you can add a bit of drive, which is going to give it a bit more warmth. Ooh, that's cool. Some reverb. That sounds really great, that reverb. It even makes it sound like they're being played live, even though it's a sample that I'm working with. Some EQ that you can toggle with the cutoff. It's going to tilt to one side or the other. And then you have a bit crusher as well. I'm going to keep the EQ and the sampler bit crusher off and see what that sounds like with my mix. I can mix it in with this knob and I can add or subtract gain with this one. So here's without the plugin. I feel that reverb might be a bit too much. There's without the plugin. You can really hear how it brings the drums to life almost. The next plugin is the Yuhi Satin, which does a great job of delivering on those old school analog textures, and it does this via tape. The most desirable lo-fi qualities come from some form of magnetic tape recording or reproduction. Satin lets you dive into the tape characteristics themselves to simulate magnetic tape behavior. So I applied Satin to my piano track. And so here's without the plugin, and I'll just solo the piano again. And here's with Satin, and it comes with tons of great presets, and I'll just cycle through some of them. One of my favorite was the tape reverb, which allows you to control the distance of each tape head. So here's without Satin. And with Satin. Satin really adds a subtle warmthness to whatever it's applied on. It's really, really great. The last plugin is another one by Goodhurtz called Wow Control, and it takes wow and flutter really seriously. As you've seen in many other plugins on this list, pitch modulation is a key characteristic of a lo-fi sound. It originally came from the subtle speeding up and slowing down of analog tape moving through a tape machine. The fluctuations of speed traveling through the tape machine translates to the subtle pitch changes. And this is really difficult to recreate because tape machines are built like Swiss watches. There's so many moving parts, and sometimes it's a bit unpredictable when the pitch modulation will happen, and this makes it really hard to emulate. But Goodhurtz Wow does a great job of doing this. So I've put it on my piano track again, and I'll just solo the piano track. That's without the plugin. And then I've put the plugin on. So you can adjust the speed. So it's getting a bit fluttery, and you can actually sync it up to the BPM of your project. So there's the amount of pitch change that's happening. And then we have a multiplier that's going to multiply that over time. You can change the shape of the sound, so it could be a square wave going up and down, or sine or triangle. And then you have a dry and wet knob. You can change the mode from 15 IPS to 7.5 IPS or cassette. Then you have analog mode up here where you can load the type of tape that you would like and grab the saturation and the color from that tape. So here's without the plugin. You can hear the warmness that this plugin brings to that piano sound to make it sound lo-fi, and the subtle pitch change that I've put in really gives it that characteristic sound of lo-fi. And because it's synced up to the BPM of my project, it really kind of bounces almost. It's really nice. Here's without the plugin, and with the plugin. Getting the right lo-fi plugin in your DAW has never been easier. Try any of these lo-fi plugins to get that classic vibe in your next track. I'd love to hear which one was your favorite, so just post it below in the comments. Also remember, like and subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and hit the bell to be notified when we release more videos like this one.